All right, so let's examine this phrase. It's got a good response, and think about why it happens, and how to counteract it. Really, so single mothers. Why does it ring true? Single mothers can't teach their sons how to be good men. Can't teach their daughters how to choose good men. Okay, so what does this actually highlight? There's a statistical reality to this that single mother families whose sons, they grow up with sons, they go to prison. They tend to go to prison, right? Many, not all. Can't teach their daughters how to choose good men. Their daughters tend to be more promiscuous, tend to have higher teenage pregnancies. And so you have to understand why it happens, right? And how you could possibly counteract it. First way to counteract it is to not brush off a relationship, a nuclear family, over a minor reason, right? 100 years ago, women wouldn't, well, I don't think women had the option to end marriages, but over boredom, right? Like, the threshold for leaving is so low in modern standards of societies because I think from the women's, and it's mostly women leaving the relationship because she has the state, she's already married to the state as the backup, right? The state will provide shelter, food, medical care, alimony, the state is there as a proxy masculine, and so she feels safe to leave. But there's some deep psychological consequences. And I'm not saying that every relationship is sustainable. Obviously there's cases where it is more positive to leave. But, I think the threshold is way too low in the modern woman's just calculus. Likely due to her pair bonding problem. I think modern women have pair bonding problems, actually. But let's dig into the developmental issues going on and, why she's having issues and what potential ways to counteract this are. So, the masculine, the father is there to, keep the sons out of prison, to teach strong boundaries, right? A man who never breaks with his own feminine, who never, goes into his masculine, has a clean break at really puberty, right? So this is the symbol of the agoge. The men take the boy away to really eject the feminine from himself, right? So he needs the feminine as a child. He needs to be cared for, etc. As soon as he starts to fend for himself, start to notice other women, like be attracted to women or to the feminine, from a sexual perspective, right? Not just from a being nurtured perspective. So once he can start to fend for himself, okay, your masculine needs to be evoked. And it's an evocation process, right? So the pain, suffering are necessary parts of this evocation. Endurance. And that's what the agoge is. This is the Spartan masculine evocation. And every culture has had it where they were like the Braves when they hit 12 to 14, they would be hung by their pectoral muscles from a post and left there for 2 days. The African plains, you're forced to kill a lion as your rite of passage. This is just boundary development. And so the father is there to say, okay, this is what a mature boundary looks like. This is how you can relate to the feminine and be a balance to the feminine. And that's what he's learning. It really has to be a feminine free environment in order to be able to give to the feminine later on, right? So it's not hostile to the feminine. It is, okay, you have reverence to your masculine exclusively without feminine distraction. You're able to shut down your own emotion and focus on the mission at hand and develop in that sense. So, if you're raising boys as a single mom, you have to recognize your limitations, recognize that it's a different evolutionary process. Like, if you raise nice boys, they will never be happy, never be satisfied, never be balanced. They have to be in, like, Boy Scouts. They have to be in activities, like, just masculine activities, in order to learn that and develop that, and to just, a lot of times, just osmosis. A strict masculine environment will foster and generate masculinity. And so it is kind of a foreign concept that a single mom has to think, well, he has to have his time in a safe and positive space that's free of me, right? This is like a hard concept for the feminine to get their head around. Like, you notice in the 300 movie, the boy, what he's looking back at is his mother, and his mother is saying, "No, don't take him." Like, she's resisting it, right? That is like, it is extremely difficult for the feminine to get her head around what's needed for masculine development. She wants to take care of her baby forever. She wants to infantilize him, which is going to turn him into a monster, really, right? So he remains her adult baby. It's not only that he cannot attract women, he cannot counterbalance women. He doesn't feel adequate in and of himself. He'll overcompensate in the masculine, and without that lack of balance, and he'll have this natural masculine aggression. That's what leads to the prison. So again, it takes a lot of self-awareness and true compassion for the masculine child, and beyond what you want as a woman naturally, which is fine. Just recognize that, okay, why is there a tendency for prison for these kids, for the boys? All right. Now you have the second aspect, right, which is can't teach their daughters how to choose a man. And again, it is another self-awareness moment, right? So if you made bad choices in your masculine, and take accountability of it if you're not in the relationship anymore for whatever reason. If you made bad choices in that, how can you teach those choices to your daughter? And are there some limitations there? Are there some challenges there? But it goes beyond that, because from a developmental perspective, right, the daughter's extension to the masculine boundary, like, it is a natural transition from paternal to partner, as the masculine boundary handoff comes from father to suitor, father to partner. So she's learning about relationship to the masculine, and this is assuming this is a positive father, a benevolent masculine, and she's learning how to develop with this energy presence here, right? So her boundaries extend to him, his to hers, and in that education process, she now knows what a paternal knows what a masculine gift that is looking out for her best interests. She can determine it because she has a point of reference from her father. When the father's not present, she cannot tell a masculine gift that has her best interests versus a masculine gift that just wants to take. Right? So you create a kind of feedback loop where daughters without fathers will be naturally wanting masculine energy and really craving it. And then so as she hits puberty, now you have all kinds of masculine tension, right? Okay, now I get what I want. But she cannot sort between masculine attention that has her best interests and masculine, because again the father archetype was not there, and masculine attention that just wants to pump and dump, right? And this is what, you know, it can create a feedback loop in her, right? So if you get pump and dump guys once she hits puberty, and then in the dumping process, it actually reminds her of the absence of fatherhood, right? So that absence of the masculine becomes even more pronounced, and the cycle repeats itself. So, you have the dump, you have the pain and loss. Let's go find another one. Dump, pain and loss, find another one. Eventually, and this could be well before she's even out of high school, she may have issues with pair bonding at that point. Difficulty with long-term relationships. Cycle repeats itself. It is a big challenge. And again, whether it's shared custody, I think that probably has. I don't know what the research is on it. Or, exposure to different types of masculine, so she understands a framework for, okay, this is what a mature man is, and this is what a use and abuse man is, and to be able to discern and tell the difference. So that's the emotional wisdom of a father presence. And again, I don't know the status of how it's different between like a shared custody or in-person father. I don't know the difference here, but again, just be aware of the dynamics, because the gift of the feminine is to be aware of where your child's at, developmentally, where their disposition is. And the other is the more practical and traditional approach, right? So what happens energetically was translated, used to actually be translated in tradition. And this is very common throughout the world, where the man, the suitor, right, the new partner, would ask permission from the parents to, take his daughter. And this is a handoff, a generational handoff of he's her boundary, he's her boundary. And the importance of this dynamic is, the reality is, if it's working positively, this is a kind of mutual decision. Ultimately, it's up to her, right? But she is trusting his judgment in him to make sure he's not a jerk, right? To make sure we don't have a narcissistic type of environment. And he can even, because, again, she's going to have difficulty determining what is a positive masculine that has my best interest versus a just masculine expression that just wants to use me, right? She's going to say, okay, I'm going to trust my dad to help me determine the difference, right? And he's going to sort through all the jerks, and she's going to kick out all the nice boys that are masculine deficient. Naturally, she's going to find a balance between what she wants and what he sees as, like, what she wants short term and what he sees long term. And another part of this aspect that is universal and repeatable, the husband or the parent, the father, will threaten the suitor. And this is because, again, we want to, like, the best solution to a dark masculine is a positive masculine. And so if this is a narcissist, narcissists fear being harmed and death as well. So to threaten this man is to put a firewall in between the two and not go full dark masculine, right? Don't beat my daughter. If you beat my daughter, I will beat you, right? So that is the full dynamics and really the underappreciated aspects of the father in modern time. I mean, the messages being told are, hey, the mother, can just do everything on her own. You don't need a father. Well, you need positive masculine energy, you need positive masculine intervention. And whether that means shared custody, great. Is the father doing the job of the masculine, doing the developmental job of the masculine? And again, if not, how to positively integrate that in, however you do that. And also, I mean, whether it's worth dissolving the relationship because of the developmental aspects, issues with the child. Again, I don't know how the research plays out in shared custody versus just total absence, but we can see how broken families can trigger multi-generational issues and large-scale social issues.